Is opera dangerous?
Is opera dangerous? Well, it's actually pretty dangerous. Not only vocally, but physically, because there's been a number of instances, too many to mention. But I've been involved in a couple of different times. Actually, one of the first ones that could talk about would be here in the U.S., where I was doing a production of a Rossini piece, Ciro in Babylonia, and I played I played this character who throws down a pot, and it's a breakaway pot, so it's supposed to break in a certain way, and it's made out of a specific material. But when I threw it, a piece of it jumped out into the orchestra and could have easily, taken out an eye or something in the orchestra, and we had to stop the rehearsal. And fortunately, it was in rehearsal. But things like that happen a lot in performances, and many times where colleagues have, fallen into the pit and had life threatening injuries. I fortunately have not had that, but I've come really close sometimes with staging, and when you're into the character, you go a little bit further than some would like, and I know that some of my friends have gotten really, really upset and scared that I'm going to fall into a pit on certain productions. But another instance was in Italy when I was doing this another opera. I've done a lot of operas by Rossini, but this was Cinderella, La Cenerentola from Rossini. And I had to be on top of these stairs that were movable stairs. They were probably 20 feet, no, I'd say, 10 to 15 feet high in the air, where I had to be on top while singing the aria. But during the song, everyone was moving me around the stage, and I could tell that it was slightly unstable, and it was not balanced correctly. And so I had to, stand up and say, "Hey, this is not going to work. I feel like I'm going to fall off. You really need to put weights down there, because I'm probably a little bit heavier than the other tenor that's in that's in the other cast." So that was a little scary. But also in Italy, another time when I was in dress rehearsal for an opera, there was a huge scream in the chorus part, and one of the pieces of the sets, because with operas it's as big as a movie set. I mean, honestly, sometimes the budgets can be as big as small movies, and they have these set pieces that are massive, like hundreds of pounds, or I mean even hundreds of kilos heavy and gigantic. I mean, massive, 2-3 story set pieces, and sometimes things fall down. And this was what happened in one of the rehearsals, and it was super scary because this blood curdling scream came out from a lady, and just ah! And everyone stopped what we were doing. The music stopped, and we had to we thought that someone had been cut in half because a giant piece of the scenery went. But fortunately, no one was really hurt. The lady who screamed, she just ended up falling over and hitting her head on a different piece of stage scenery, and she didn't die. So yeah, but there's been many gruesome sometimes stories of things happening in opera houses, because there's just so much that could go wrong. And technically, it's like basically you're producing a movie live. But I have to say, one of the funniest instances, but also scariest for me, is when I almost killed a very famous soprano, Karen Armstrong. She's just an amazing colleague and one of the best legendary sopranos from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And we were doing Candide together in Belgium. And in this work at the end, in the staging, we were all running around in circles, and it was on a raked stage. And one of our colleagues bumped into me, and I wasn't ready for it. And we were on a rake stage, so I was going forward, and I was hurtling really fast. And she just happened to be there, and I was like, "Move out of the way!" But I couldn't do it in time, and we were in the middle of this chaotic music, and I just landed straight on her, and I thought I had killed the soprano, because I'm a pretty big guy, but she's stout and she's awesome. And she was like, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Okay?" She's like, "I'm fine. Just keep going." So I got up, and we ended up, I helped her up a little bit, but thank God I didn't kill the soprano.